खलीफा के लबों से जो गुलो जौहर बिखरते हैं, खलीफा के लबों से जो गुलो जौहर बिखरते हैं, बड़े अनमोल मोती है ये दौलत हम संभालेंगे, बड़े अनमोल मोती हैं ये दौलत हम संभालेंगे. And I'll just go to Kashif first, because Kashif was all part 3 of Hazrat Ali Rizal Anhu. And what a brilliant Friday sermon it was. You know, usually I go to Wolverhampton on Friday. Like, I have a different Jamaat every Friday, but this Friday, like, I was listening to it and I was like, okay, I'm just going to go in 5 minutes. Then Azur just relates another incident, and I'm like, okay, I'll go after that, go after that. So I kept listening until like I realized it was really late. So I had to jump into my car and drive to Wolverhampton Mosque. But we'll listen to your presentation and then we'll talk about it as well, because there's so many points that Azur mentioned that really need to be said again. So Kashav, yeah, quickly we'd go over your presentation first. Jazakallah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Aksalam.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So Hazur, as Murbi Saab mentioned, was talking about Hazrat Ali radiallahu anhu, and Hazur narrated that about that the bravery and the courage of Hazrat Ali at the occasion of Battle of Uhud. At this time, the angel Gabriel came to the Holy Prophet ﷺ and said about Hazrat Ali that he is certainly deserving of sympathy. The Holy Prophet ﷺ certainly he is of me and I am from him. Angel Gabriel replied that indeed I am from both of you. In the Battle of Uhud, the Meccans started claiming that they had martyred the Holy Prophet ﷺ. Hazrat Ali was looking for his master. When he could not find him, he said that I did not find him among the martyrs, and the Holy Prophet ﷺ could not have run away. Hence God must have raised Hence God must have raised him. Thus it is better for me to be martyred while fighting the enemy. Hazrat Khalifatul Masih Aizat commented that such was his immense love for the Holy Prophet, which started from early childhood and continued to manifest through his life. At the time of Treaty of Hud- Hudayb- Hud- Hudaybiyah, Hazrat Ali wrote that this contract is between Muhammad Rasulullah and some chiefs of Mecca. Meccans objected to the words of Rasulullah, saying that if we had accepted you as such, we would not be fighting you. The Holy Prophet accepted their demand and asked Hazrat Ali to raise the word Rasulullah. However, out of his love, Hazrat Ali responded that I will, I will not be the person to erase these words. Thus, the Holy Prophet did so himself, hence, the treaty was finalized. One day during the Battle of Khyber, the Holy Prophet said that today I will grant this flag to the person loved by Allah, His Messenger, and all Muslims. Many companions desired to have this honor, including Hazrat Umar radiallahu anhu. When the Holy Prophet saw Hazrat Ali, he awarded this honor to him. At this time, Hazrat Ali's eyes were badly hurt. The Holy Prophet replied, applied his own saliva to the eyes of Hazrat Ali to cure them instantly. Thus, the castle of Khyber was won at the hands of Hazrat Ali. Radiallahu anhu. Hazrat Ali. Okay. We find an incident demonstrating high morals of Hazrat Ali at the occasions of Battle of Khyber. After fighting a famous warrior, Hazrat Ali overpowered him and was about to kill him when the person spat in his face. Hazrat Ali let him go. A, a stone, a, no, Astonishing, I don't know what that says, but he asked Hazrat Ali why he did not kill him. Hazrat Ali replied that I was fighting you for the sake of Allah. Now that you have spat on me, I fear that I would kill you to satisfy my own anger instead of sake of Allah. The Holy Prophet ﷺ decided to leave Hazrat Ali behind at the time of the Battle of Tabuk to protect the people. Hazrat Ali expressed his disappointment to the Holy Prophet ﷺ at not being able to accompany him. The Holy Prophet ﷺ said that are you not content that you are related to me as Prophet Aaron to Moses, except that there is no prophet after me? Jazakallah. End of presentation.
Kashif, is there anything that you learned in particular, any point that you feel that you can take from the Friday sermon this week?
The thing that I found very important or like eye catching was, as I just read, like when the enemy spat on his face, he was like, "I'm not gonna kill you because if I kill you, I will not be doing it for the sake of Allah. I'll do it out of anger, and I can't do that." So he just let him go because he knew he would do it out of anger, not for the sake of Allah.
Yeah, and to have that much control is crazy. Like you're already fighting for the cause of Allah, and you're just literally to walk away from the person because your intention has changed. I found that amazing as well. Jazakallah Kashif. Well, Zaryab, I know it might have affected you as well in some way. How do you feel like what have you learned from this week's Friday sermon?
One thing I think that strengthened Wacha, I think it was when the Sahaba said to Hazrat Ali that this woman hasn't got the letter. And Hazrat Ali was like, no, the Holy Prophet ﷺ said something and that's it. There's no other way about it. It's right and that's it. Because I think that's what that affects me was that Hazur is a Khalifa is a reflection of a prophet. So whatever he says and does, it's 100% bang on. So it makes you realize how strong and truthful their words are.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good point you touched on actually, because with us, we're so lucky to live in the UK, and we're able to witness his all physical blessings, and we see like whatever he says, it comes to light. But you realize when you go a bit outside, in different Jamaats, people start to question Khilafat, which is really wrong.
Yeah.
And then they hear that, okay, Hazur said this, and sometimes they question that, which we shouldn't do. But with Hazrat Ali, because he was like raised in the house of the Holy Prophet, he built that trust and that loyalty with him. That anything that the Holy Prophet would say, he would catch on to and say, "This is the final word. There's no two ways about it." And that's why he was so convinced that the lady did have the letter, and he actually found it. So yeah, that's a brilliant point. I think for me, I don't know if anyone else wants to pick up on anything, because Zur said so many things, but for me, the best one was when he related the story about the Battle of Uhud, and the enemies, they had a guy called Amr. He was called Amr, and this guy was such a ferocious beast that they say that this one man can take an army of 1,000. He can fight them easily, and they won't be able to defeat him. So when in those days, when they used to before a battle, there were two armies would come together, and then one person from each army would come and they'll fight, and then they'll start the bigger fight. So this guy Umar, he came forward, big soldier, and even the own companions of the Holy Prophet, were a bit reluctant on fighting him because they knew his reputation, they knew who he was. So the person who did step forward was Hazrat Ali, and the Holy Prophet gave him his sword and said, go fight with this. So even that guy, the Umar guy, he said to him that, what are you? You're just a kid. Get me someone from your elders. It will be a shame that if I kill you. And then Hazrat Ali goes to him that, you're ashamed of killing me, but I won't even hesitate for a second to kill you. So straight away, he tried hitting him, hit him from the shoulder, and from the shoulder the guy died. And from that, everyone was taken aback. Like, how did this young kid, take out our best soldier? Just from that moment, that gave so much courage to the Muslims that they realized that Allah is really on their side. And for me, I think because we're all young, it's difficult, when you put in situations like that and you're asked to come forward. When you're young, you don't have that courage. You feel like I'm a bit scared. Even when, like, for example, you have to relate this story to every moment of your life. Even, for example, when someone asks you to do some sort of work, sometimes people sit back or they slouch down in their chairs just so they don't be seen or they're not seen. But Hazrat Ali was the opposite, man. He was so like forefront. He just wanted to come forward and he just wanted to take part because he wanted to represent the Holy Prophet in the best way. And
Yeah,
yeah.
Sorry, Musa, I just want to point out, I think you can see why the Shia community are very forefront and, you know, quite passionate about the belief about Hazrat Ali, because that's who they, you know, that's their that's the way they follow. You can see, because I've gotten a few Shia friends, and the way their passion is, it's quite, you know, straight, strong, and just straightforward. No two ways about it.
Yeah, I do believe that's also from, I think it was mentioned towards the end about those people who were talking badly about Hazrat Ali in the mosque. And then the Holy Prophet he realized that people were talking about him, and he looked at them like this, and they sat down and said, "Don't ever complain about Hazrat Ali, because Hazrat Ali to me is like, you know, the Harun of Hazrat Musa alayhi salatu wasalam. When I'm gone, he will be the successor. So don't ever say anything against him." So I think just because the Holy Prophet defended him so much, and he defended him from his own people, that's probably why it's transcended upon the Shia community as well. That's a good point. Jazakallah.